Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, a whole stack of them, and we pull out the most interesting stuff, the stuff that'll really make you think.
That's right.
And today, well, get ready to dive into the world of, well, dreams and rejections. Big ones.
Oh,
You
yes.
sent us a ton of articles all about businesses that got told no on Shark Tank.
You know, that show where entrepreneurs pitch their ideas to some pretty tough investors.
Exactly. And then, get this, they went on to make a fortune. We're talking millions, even billions,
Yeah.
all without those sharks.
It's wild, right? Like, you almost think Shark Tank is make or break for a business.
I know. Makes you wonder what the sharks missed.
Totally. And how did those entrepreneurs turn a big fat no into, like, this launch pad for success?
Yeah, how you think rejection on national TV would be crushing, but for these businesses. Just the beginning.
For sure.
So let's start with maybe the most famous Shark Tank reject of all time. Jamie Siminoff and his company.
Really?
Yeah, you might remember his DoorBot back in season 5.
Oh, that video doorbell.
The one all the sharks turned down.
It's crazy to think about that now, right? I mean, Amazon bought them for $1 billion.
$1 billion. Back then, though, the sharks weren't convinced. They had doubts about the product, the market, even Siminoff's valuation.
Oh, I remember. Kevin O'Leary, he called it just a doorbell.
He really did. And Mark Cuban, he was worried about how much it would cost to get customers.
Yeah, they didn't see the vision.
But Siminoff, he didn't give up. He kept believing, even when the sharks didn't. He actually saw that rejection as like a chance to get better.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He rebranded DoorBot as Ring, which sounded more security-focused, and he just kept hustling. Partnerships, marketing, you name it.
That's so key. He didn't just, like, wait for things to happen. He took that feedback, the good and the bad, and he used it.
It paid off, big time. He got funding from other places, and Ring sales went through the roof. And then, bam, Amazon swoops in.
2018, right?
Yeah, $1 billion acquisition.
Yeah.
One of the biggest Shark Tank success stories, and it all started with a no.
And it's not just about the money. Ring has changed home security. It's a household name. Millions of people use it. Siminoff's idea of a connected home, it's real now.
It really is. It shows you sometimes those sharks don't know everything.
Yeah, they're not always right.
But speaking of smart decisions, let's talk about Coffee Meets Bagel. It's a dating app founded by the Kang sisters. And guess what? They said no to Mark Cuban.
No way.
Yeah. He offered them $30 million, and they walked away.
Wow, that's bold. Especially on Shark Tank. All that pressure, all those cameras.
I know, but they had a vision for their company. They didn't want to compromise it, even for that kind of money.
Makes sense.
They felt taking Cuban's offer would mean giving up too much control.
Ah, yeah, that can happen. You lose your brand, your mission.
Exactly, so they stuck to their guns. Must have taken a lot of courage.
I bet. So did it work out for them?
Oh yeah. They've raised over $23 million in funding since then, on their own terms.
Good for them.
And their company's now worth like $150 million. They focused on growing slowly, making sure the user experience was good, building a strong community.
And it resonated with people, their audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's proof that trusting your gut and sticking to your vision, even when it's tough, can pay off. And it shows that funding isn't the only measure of success. Sometimes keeping control, building something that aligns with your values, that's even more important.
You got it. And these stories, they show there's no one way to make it. What works for one person might not work for another.
True.
It's about knowing yourself, knowing your market, and making the right calls, even if they're not the obvious ones.
Okay, I'm hooked. We've got these two amazing stories, entrepreneurs who beat the odds. What other Shark Tank rejects are out there with similar journeys?
It's incredible, isn't it, how they turned rejection into, like, motivation.
Yeah, like rocket fuel.
But their stories, they kind of show us there are so many paths to success. Some, like Ring and Coffee Meets Bagel, they were careful about funding.
Right.
Others, they found that just being on Shark Tank, even without a deal, that was their big break.
Oh, interesting. So even if they didn't get the money, just the exposure from the show helped them.
Exactly. It's like free publicity nationwide. Let's talk about Chef Big Shake, you know, Sean Davis and his shrimp burgers.
Shrimp burgers, yeah.
He was on season 2, and the sharks weren't exactly thrilled. They didn't think a shrimp burger business could, like, really grow.
Yeah, I can see that being a challenge.
And some of them, like Barbara Corcoran, she didn't even like the taste.
Ouch. A bad review on national TV? You'd think that'd be it for him.
You would, right. But get this, after that episode aired, his demand exploded. People were curious. They wanted to try those shrimp burgers everyone was talking about.
Almost they got roasted on Shark Tank.
Yep. And his sales, they jumped from $30,000 to over $5 million. in 1 year.
Wow. That is turning lemons into lemonade. So the Shark Tank effect, it's real, even without a deal.
It's like the best advertising you could ask for. And it's not just about that initial buzz. Being on Shark Tank, it gives you credibility.
Oh yeah, like a stamp of approval.
Even if you didn't get the cash. It can open doors to other investors, partnerships, media, all sorts of stuff.
That makes sense. So sometimes those sharks saying no, it's actually a good thing.
In a way, yeah. It pushes those entrepreneurs to be more creative, to find their own way.
Yeah, to hustle even harder.
Speaking of creative solutions, let's talk about BedJet. That climate control system for beds.
BedJet, oh yeah.
Marco Romley, he pitched it in season 6, but the sharks weren't biting. They thought it was too niche, too pricey, not really something people needed.
I think some of them even joked about it being for, like, sweaty sleeper.
They did. So did Romley give up? Nope. He believed in his product so much that he put his own money into it.
He self-funded the whole thing. That's risky.
It was a gamble, for sure, but it worked. BedJet has sold over 200,000 units, and they make around $5 million a year.
Wow. He bet on himself and won. Talk about conviction.
And it shows the importance of product market fit. Sometimes the sharks, they just don't get it.
Right, right.
It might not fit with their own experiences or their investment style, but that doesn't mean there isn't a market for it.
It's like what they see as a flaw, someone else sees as a selling point.
Totally. And sometimes a product just needs the right audience, the right message.
Find his people.
Exactly. And speaking of finding your audience, let's talk about the lip bar. That vegan lipstick brand, Melissa Butler, pitched it in season 9.
Oh, I remember that one. The sharks were pretty rough on her.
They were. They criticized her target market, the colors, even the packaging.
It was tough to watch.
But here's the amazing part. Butler didn't let it get to her. She took that feedback, she refined her pitch, and she focused even harder on her audience. Women of color.
The ones who are often ignored by the big beauty brands.
Yeah, she saw their rejection as a challenge, a way to prove them wrong.
And she did. The Lip Bar is a multi-million-dollar business now. They're even in Target and Ulta Beauty.
Amazing, right? She turned a negative experience into something positive. Shows the power of resilience, believing in yourself.
And authenticity, being true to your brand.
Absolutely. The Lip Bar, they resonated with their specific audience. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to win is to do your own thing.
Forge your own path, even if it's different.
Exactly. And speaking of doing your own thing, let's talk about Kodiak Cakes.
Kodiak Cakes, the protein pancakes and waffles.
Those are the ones? They turned down a deal on Shark Tank.
I thought so. Didn't they have offers from, like, Robert and Kevin O'Leary?
They did, season 5. But they felt the offers weren't good enough, so they walked away.
Wow, that's a big decision. Standing here on TV saying no to those guys.
It takes guts. But look what happened. Kodiak Cakes is huge now. They're making over $200 million.
No way.
They got funding elsewhere, expanded their product line, built a whole brand around healthy, convenient breakfasts.
So sometimes walking away from the sharks, that's the best move.
It can be. It's about knowing your worth, not settling, and having the confidence to go your own way, like the founders of Xero Shoes.
Xero Shoes, the minimalist shoe company.
Yep. The sharks weren't interested in their pitch, so they left empty-handed.
Oh, wow. So they didn't even get a deal.
But they didn't let that stop them. They believed in their product, their mission, promoting natural movement, and they kept building their business.
On their own terms.
Exactly. They focused on their niche market, built a strong online presence, used social media and influencers to connect with customers.
Smart.
And now Xero Shoes is doing really well, making millions. Proof that you don't need the sharks to succeed.
That's really inspiring. All these entrepreneurs, they didn't let rejection define them. They used it as fuel.
They did.
They found new ways to get funding, they refined their strategies, and they built successful businesses that reflected their vision. So they didn't just, bounce back. They came back stronger.
Oh, absolutely. Rejection, it can be a wake-up call.
Yeah, it makes you rethink things.
You have to, right? It forces you to be more creative, try different things, really understand who your customer is.
And in a lot of cases, they came out better on the other side.
More focused, yeah.
So it's not always a bad thing that no from the sharks.
Not at all. And it shows something important. Resilience. Being able to adapt, that's key for any entrepreneur.
Entirely. Things are always changing. You got to be able to roll with it.
The business world, it's like a roller coaster. You got to be ready for anything.
So we've seen examples of companies using that Shark Tank exposure even without the deal. And those who walked away and did even better on their own. Are there any other common things, strategies that stand out to you?
It's interesting. So many of them found other ways to get funding. They didn't just rely on the sharks.
Yeah,
They looked at angel investors, venture capitalists, crowdfunding. Some even used their own savings.
like Rocketbook, the reusable notebook company.
Yeah, them. The sharks said no, but they raised over $1 million through crowdfunding, and they're a bestseller on Amazon.
Wow. And Eco Nuts, the laundry detergent.
Them too.
Oh.
Turned down by the sharks, but they're killing it online, and they've got partnerships with retailers.
It just goes to show there are so many paths to success. It's not just about that one show, that one deal.
Nope. You got to have a great product, know your market, and be resourceful.
Have a good story, right? A mission that people believe in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the lip bar. Remember Melissa Butler? She was so passionate about inclusivity in the beauty industry. That drove her success.
It wasn't just lipstick, it was a statement.
Exactly. And it seems like these Shark Tank rejects, they had this extra drive to connect with their audience.
Yeah, like they had something to prove.
They did. They had to work harder, be more genuine, and that made their brands even stronger.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway for our listener? What can they learn from these stories?
I think the biggest lesson is this. Rejection doesn't have to be the end. A lot of times, it's just the start.
Well, good.
It's a chance to look at things differently, to try a new approach, to find your own way.
These entrepreneurs, they didn't let a no stop them. They kept going, they kept
They
believing.
built amazing businesses on their own terms.
And who knows, maybe someone listening right now, they just got rejected, they're feeling down. To them, I say, don't give up.
Yeah, your journey, it's just starting. Learn from these stories, keep pushing, and never stop believing in yourself.
That's perfect. A great reminder that success, it's not a straight line. There are going to be bumps in the road,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
but it's about pushing through, adapting, learning along the way. That's what makes the difference.
And hey, maybe you'll be the next one to prove the sharks wrong. Build a billion-dollar business from a simple no. You never know.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Shark Tank rejects who made it big.
It's been fun.
Truly inspiring stories. I hope our listener got some great insights, maybe even some motivation.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.